They came from different centuries. One was a priest and one wasn't. But yet, I think comparisons can be made, perhaps useful, perhaps not. In their careers, for example, it's curious that both of them had a career divided almost at midlife. So you have, in the case of Galileo, at the age of something like 46, he left his professorship at the University of Padua, which he later said were the happiest years of his life, to become a courtier in Florence, where he spent the rest of his life in or around Florence. And as for Boscovich, at the age of 49, having spent 30 years at the Roman College in various capacities, in the last, 20 years as professor, he too went wandering, and partly as a courtier, a technique that he had perfected over the previous decade or so. So they both had this midlife change. And in both cases, they set up as philosophers. They had been professors of mathematics, and then they became philosophers for various reasons, primarily, I think, besides interest, primarily in order to try to persuade the powers that be to accept their particular way of looking at the world. Well, I think maybe one could almost argue that the Roman Catholic Church, because it was sometimes hostile and sometimes supportive of people like Galileo and Boscovich, remember both of them had the support of a pope for a time, Urban VIII in the case of Galileo and Benedict XIV in the case of Boscovich. Both of them had ideas that they wished to put forward and which were constrained by the environment, but not fully constrained, in a way in which almost to challenge them and give power to their elbow. And you might think of it as a sort of evolutionary thing, that the church did keep down people who were not so, what shall we say, sure of themselves as Galileo and Boscovich were. I think that's one other parallel you can make. They were both self-assured. They made friends easily and lost them perhaps more readily. They were from time to time arrogant, aggressive. But those were the qualities one needed to make an impression beyond the ordinary in that society.